The world watches as a fragile hope emerges from the ashes of the Ukraine conflict. European leaders, with the backing of US President Donald Trump, have issued a bold proposition, a 30-day ceasefire, set to commence on May 12, 2025. This call for a temporary cessation of hostilities is twofold in its purpose. First and foremost, it stands as a humanitarian gesture, aiming to alleviate the suffering of Ukrainian civilians caught in the crossfire. Secondly, it serves as a litmus test for Russia's commitment to de-escalation. The proposal, communicated through diplomatic backchannels, has been presented to the Kremlin as a confidence-building measure. It is a crucial step, potentially paving the way for peace talks later this summer. The world waits with bated breath for Russia's response, knowing that the fate of countless lives hangs in the balance. The stakes are high and the world holds its breath, hoping for a glimmer of peace in the midst of chaos. The ceasefire proposal comes at a critical juncture in the conflict. Recent weeks have witnessed an escalation in violence, with both sides engaging in fierce battles. The humanitarian toll continues to mount, with countless civilians displaced and infrastructure reduced to rubble. The proposed ceasefire offers a glimmer of hope for those caught in the crosshairs, a chance for a respite from the relentless violence. However, the path to peace is fraught with obstacles. Deep mistrust and animosity between the warring parties cast a long shadow over the negotiations. The outcome of the ceasefire proposal remains uncertain, a testament to the complexity and fragility of the situation. Should Russia spurn this olive branch, the consequences will be swift and severe. The West, united in its condemnation of Russia's aggression, has prepared a new wave of sanctions designed to cripple the Russian economy. These sanctions target key sectors, aiming to isolate Russia from the global financial system and cripple its ability to wage war. First among these is the full enforcement of the energy embargo. Loopholes that have allowed Russian oil to trickle into the global market through third countries will be closed. This move, while necessary to curb Russia's war machine, will undoubtedly send shockwaves through the global energy market. Financial institutions will also face the brunt of Western retaliation. Secondary sanctions will be expanded to ensnare entities in Asia and the Middle East that have been facilitating Russian trade and finance. Furthermore, Western nations are poised to target Russian assets abroad, including central bank reserves held in foreign banks. This coordinated assault on Russia's financial lifeline is intended to starve its war effort and pressure the Kremlin to reconsider its course. The technological sector will not be spared either. The West plans to restrict Russia's access to crucial technologies, including cloud computing and AI infrastructure, both of which are vital for military innovation. By cutting off Russia's access to these technologies, the West aims to stifle its military modernization efforts and limit its ability to develop advanced weaponry. The Kremlin's response to the ceasefire proposal has been a mixture of disdain and defiance. Dismissing it as Western propaganda, Russian officials have accused the US and its European allies of cynically exploiting a humanitarian crisis to advance their own geopolitical agenda. They argue that the ceasefire is a ploy to buy time for Ukrainian forces to regroup and rearm, ultimately prolonging the conflict. Russia has made it abundantly clear that any ceasefire must be predicated on Ukraine's acceptance of its demands. These demands include the recognition of Russia's annexation of Crimea and the Donbas region, a non-starter for Kiev and its Western backers. This uncompromising stance has cast a pall over the prospects for a negotiated settlement, raising fears that the conflict could escalate further. Despite the Kremlin's belligerent rhetoric, some analysts detect a glimmer of pragmatism beneath the surface. Russia's economy has been battered by Western sanctions, and the war in Ukraine has taken a heavy toll on its military. There are signs that the Kremlin is feeling the pressure, both domestically and internationally. The Kremlin's decision on the ceasefire proposal carries immense weight. It will reveal much about Russia's true intentions and its willingness to seek a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The world watches and waits, hoping for a de-escalation of this dangerous standoff. The international community's reaction to the ceasefire proposal and the potential fallout from Russia's decision has been mixed. While many countries have expressed support for the initiative, others have urged caution, warning that an overly aggressive approach could backfire. China, a key player on the global stage, has called for restraint, emphasizing the need for dialogue and diplomacy. Several nations in the global south have also voiced concerns about the potential consequences of escalating sanctions against Russia. They argue that such measures could exacerbate existing food and energy crises, particularly in vulnerable countries heavily reliant on Russian exports. Their concerns highlight the complex geopolitical ramifications of the conflict and the need for a nuanced and calibrated response. In the United States, President Trump's surprise endorsement of the ceasefire proposal has been met with a mixture of skepticism and cautious optimism. Some observers view it as a calculated gamble, an attempt to burnish his foreign policy credentials ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Others see it as a genuine effort to de-escalate a dangerous situation. The next 72 hours will be critical. Russia's decision on the ceasefire will have far-reaching implications, shaping the trajectory of the conflict and its impact on the global order. A positive response could open a window for dialogue and offer a glimmer of hope for a peaceful resolution. Rejection, however, could unleash a cascade of consequences, plunging the region further into turmoil and deepening the rift between Russia and the West. The world holds its breath, hoping for the best but bracing for the worst.